It's a pleasure to present this presentation to you about synchronizing your PC. I prepared this in response to a request I had about using various ways of synchronizing your PCs, your tablets, various other devices that we all have. So there are numerous ways to sync our desktops, laptops, telephones, and phones, and it's particularly becoming more of a need now that we have our data, that we want to be able to use our data across platforms and operating systems. So, as it was mentioned in the introduction, that it can be relatively simple to the complex. And I'm choosing simple, but over a network, we can use a network attached storage, we can set up local files using software. But that can be tricky for the uninitiated. So the simplest solution, in my opinion, that avoids a LAN altogether is a sync over the internet. And that's using the various cloud services that we have available today: Apple's iCloud, Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive. They will keep our folders in sync even if we are located in different places. And we can use these services over multiple devices and platforms: Windows, iOS, and Android. The simplest way is to be able to have your cloud storage as being your central storage location. And so it will then allow all your devices to access and share the same data, making it accessible anywhere on any device. And it's the easiest way, in my opinion, to be able to access and share your data. The only thing that we have to an issue rather is having an internet connection, but there are offline solutions that will help with that problem, and we'll talk about those as well. So setting up cloud storage is really relatively easy, and then we've talked about just another actual storage device. It's not physically on your computer, but it is located with servicers that are located in various places all over the world. And so that's where we'll be putting our photos, our videos, and our music and other document types. So we can easily access your information by signing into your phone, tablet, or computer. So the key to accessing a cloud server is to use a common user ID and password on all devices. And so we want to make sure we have a strong password, and then we want to download the applications: Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, iCloud, or other. Now, most of the new operating systems will already have some of the storage already built in. OneDrive comes with Windows 10, and iCloud comes with your Apple devices, where Dropbox and Google, Dropbox, I'm sorry, will be something that you have to buy or access separately. But the other operating systems already have these built in: OneDrive, Google Drive, and iCloud. It's fairly simple. You want to create an account. In a lot of cases, when you create your initial install, whatever user ID and password that you use that will be the one that will access your cloud storage. But you go about setting up your folders just as you would on a drive that's installed on your computer for your documents, your photos and videos and music. And you save those data to those appropriate folders in the same manner as you would save data on a physical drive. As I said earlier, internet access is required to access your data, but um, you can save your data offline where it will be available should you not have an internet connection. Alternative, you can use a private Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, when I say a private Wi-Fi hotspot, on your data plans for your smartphones, you usually are given a means of turning on a hotspot using your cellular data. This, of course, eats into your data plan. The only thing you're not going to be using this on a permanent basis. It's just a temporary solution to access your data. So when you're accessing your files offline, uh, you you want to be able to make sure that you have a means or understand how to go about downloading that information beforehand. If you think you're going to be going into an area that is going to be where access is not going to be unavailable, then you'll want to download those in advance. So here's some alternate solutions if we don't have that you could also use to synchronize your PC. When you're synchronizing your accounts, such as your mail, contacts, calendar, you can use your Google and Microsoft services to do this. And one thing about it is that it's creating a Microsoft account. If you use an email address or password to sign in to a Microsoft service, such as Hotmail, Outlook, Messenger, or Xbox Live, you already have a Microsoft account. And you can use that to sign into any Microsoft service. And if you don't have one, you can easily create one by going to https signup.live.com and following those instructions. And there you can use any email address you already use regularly, or you can create at outlook.com. I think a lot of people have gotten confused about this, but your Microsoft account is just an email address and a password. It doesn't have to be a Microsoft Live account or any of those. It could be any email address that you want to use. Like, for example, my Microsoft account is wijames@sbcglobal.net, and the password that I have assigned to that. Likewise, the Google account is the same type of situation. Is that like your Microsoft account, if you have an email address and passwords that you sign into your Gmail, then you already have a Google account. And you can use it to sign into any Google service. If you don't have an account, you can easily create one by setting up a Gmail account. And it will give you more options when you use your Google Maps, access to Google Drive, or other Google services. So what that entails is that whatever device that you use, you can use Google Drive, and you can get into your documents that you have stored. You can also use Google Drive and Google Docs across platforms. So there's not a real problem as far as being able to access the data, your photos, your calendar, or anything, whether you're using your desktop computer, your Android device or your iPhone, iPad, all those will be accessible through Google Drive. The other way, which is more complex, is using your file and printing sharing options that you have on a computer that's running Windows. And you can share files and folders with other computers that are on your network. Now, that means that it's internal. It won't be accessible to users that are outside work. In other words, you won't be able to get to those unless you're using if you're not within that particular network. Say, for instance, if you're outside the home and you want to access a file, then you can't use file and print sharing in that manner. But sharing passwords and files with Windows 10 is secured by logon details of the computer they're stored on, and anyone who wants to open a shared file or folder will need to know that password of that sharing computer. So it is possible that anyone access files you share by editing the permissions. And to do so, it's just a matter of going in and right-clicking on that particular file or folder and then going in and editing the permissions. But if you're the only person who uses your network and you just want to be able to access your files and folders on different devices, you can change the settings to turn on password protected sharing. That means that anyone connected to your network can open any file or folder you've shared. And this, of course, is recognized by the only person using that network. And as I said before, you can go to the control panel, or settings in this case, network and sharing center, change the advanced sharing settings, click on all networks, password protected sharing, click the option that says turn off password protected sharing, and then save your changes. Printer sharing allows you to make an attached printer available to other computer users on the network. And if you're connected to a public network or location, such as a cafe and library, you may want to turn off file and printer sharing until you're connected to a private network location. And if you want to just share just a file or folder, here's some other ways you can do that as well. Find the file or folder that you want to share and just press the Windows key and E, and it'll bring up File Explorer. And then by default, you'll notice that everybody will have read-only, and they will be able to read and copy information, but they won't be able to edit or delete it. But you can change that again by clicking on permissions and editing type of access of the file you wish to share. Now, in version 1803, which is the spring Windows update that just came out this past week, you'll find that Home Group has been removed from Windows 10. But you can still share printer and files by using the features that are built into Windows 10. So after you update your PC to Windows 10, you'll find that the Home Group will no longer appear in File Explorer. It won't be in the control panel, which means you can't create, join, or leave a home group. And you won't be able to share new files or folders. File or folder and files that were previously shared will be continued to be shared, and you can open them in File Explorer by just typing in // home PC / shared folder name. And you can still get to any shared printer through the printer dialog box. So that's a change that came about with one of the changes that came about with the new update with Windows 10 version 1803. We all have a need, of course, of syncing email across devices. And of course, the simplest way of doing that is using a webmail such as Gmail or Hotmail. There's really no syncing needed to keep your email coordinated across multiple computers. You just open up your web browser and everything is just as you left it. Um, and the easiest way to set up email on multiple devices is to use IMAP. If your email account can use that, and this is the easy way to have your mail synced. And even if you send mail um, with the email server. Those that prefer are required to use a desktop program like Microsoft Outlook or Thunderbird. You have a little bit of a more difficult task of keeping your emails and contacts uh, synchronized across multiple devices. But here's a tip. Move your Outlook PST files or Thunderbird profile to Dropbox so that all your settings are automatically synced between your computers. Another reason to go to the Dropbox route is to sync your settings and other items such as tasks in your Outlook or Thunderbird programs across your computers. There's a few caveats to this approach. You need to close out your Outlook program on the first computer before opening the second one. And this is very important because Dropbox is pretty good about creating duplications and conflicted copies of your files. But constant syncing attempts of the open PS can lead to corruption. So close out your Outlook and let Dropbox do its syncing before you open Outlook on your next computer. And keep in mind that if your Outlook file is very big, you can run out of space on your Dropbox account. So you may want to upgrade your account or carefully monitor your email boxes. And if you're using the cross-platform Thunderbird email client, you can move your profile to an external drive, like a USB thumb drive. But that requires, carrying around that USB stick and bringing it to each computer that you need access. The better solution is to move your profile to a new shared location, either a shared network folder or your Dropbox folder. Now, I found a website, Lifehacker, that has the details for how to go on that, and this is the URL that will be in the presentation when it gets uploaded to the YouTube server, and you can copy it from there. Syncing photos across devices. I get questions about this all the time, how they can find their photos that they've taken on their phone, on your PC, and vice versa. But most everybody these days are using a smartphone to take photos. And the issue is getting the photos from your phone to your other devices. So syncing your devices with Dropbox and Google Photos will solve that problem. And it's just simply by going in the settings in Dropbox or Google Photos and turning on the camera uploads. And then it will then, as you take the picture, at some point it will upload those. The best way I have mine set is only on Wi-Fi, because you don't want to use your cellular data to be expended trying to get photos loaded up to your other devices. So when you get into a Wi-Fi situation, then that process will occur, and that will save you some data. Because remember that photos uses a lot of data when they're being uploaded. And the same thing about music is that syncing your favorite music to devices that you want to play anywhere has never been easier. And what I suggest is using either the free or paid online services such as Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, or Apple Music. You can create your playlist on one device, and it instantly becomes available across whatever devices you're using. These services also allow you to import or download your favorite music to and from your PC to any device. And Spotify is very unique in that it will allow you to play music on any device that has they're calling Spotify Connect. And you'll notice that if you're in Spotify, you go down to the bottom where it says devices available. You just click on that, and then you'll see all the devices that are on your network or on the internet, and you can just select the one that you want, and it'll play to that device. In Windows 10, Cortana has something else that another feature that they've come up with, and they were calling Continuum. And so if you're running a Windows 10 version 17.9 or later, Cortana comes with what they call Pick Up Where I Left Off. And when that's enabled, it'll allow you, allow some of the apps you're running during previous sessions to be restored automatically. This feature works best with Microsoft products. And you'll also find the continuation pages showing up in the Action Center. Such as what I have here. You can notice the left side center, and you can see where it's saying resume from your other devices. And in this case, there was a that I was looking at, and it's showing here. There was another website. There's some PowerPoint presentation. All these things were being looked at, viewed on a different device, and now I can click on those and resume them on my PC. So the requirements are is you need to sign in to your Cortana with the Microsoft account is, again, critical here on this PC and any other device. You want to be able to pick up where you left off. You turn on your notifications, and that will allow them to be shown in the Action Center. And you turn on send notifications and information between devices. And of course, this is only available in the English version of Windows. But that's a means of being able to share and sync information between your PC or the device that you're using. Calendars are always an important to sync, and if you use a Google Calendar, you can get your events and dates synced to also show within Windows. So with Windows 10, they revamped their calendar app, and so they now allow you to use both the Google Calendar and the Windows 10. If you go into calendars, you'll notice you have a choice of calendars that you can choose from. And if you use the Google one, that means that it will sync with your Android devices. So whatever you put in your Google Calendar will appear across any device that you're using a Google Calendar with. So the process of that is that in Windows, just go in and add your Google account. And choose the Google option, and you follow the prompts, and it will then customize your calendar to your liking. And if you want to set how often your calendar communicates with the servers for new appointments, you can also have that option. But keep in mind, once you add your Google account to the calendar, Windows will automatically sync your attached mail. But that can be turned off, but just be aware of that if you all of a sudden start getting duplications of your mail, is that it's bringing in your Google Mail as well, your Gmail. Syncing iPads and iPhones has always been somewhat of a problem. Apple has always been very unique in how they do things, but we all know how versatile iPhones can be, and if you configure them right and add the right applications, you can allow them to sync as well. So the easiest method is to use the free mobile apps such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, which are available from Microsoft, or Google Docs in the App Store. Again, a single user ID and password will allow you to access your data from anywhere on any device. Remote desktops is another way of being able to access your data. But the remote desktop that's included in Windows 10 is not a syncing application. It's really a simple app that allows you to use your Windows PC or your Windows, Android, or iOS that's connected to another PC. And there are some settings that you can use. So the remote desktop connection is, first you want to set up your remote PC to allow remote connections. And so you want to go to Settings and select System, and remember what the PC name is, because you'll need that later. And then on the related settings, select System Info. And in the left pane of the System window, select Advanced System Settings. And then on the Remote tab, you'll want to allow remote connection to this computer. And then again, go to your settings icon, select System, and then go to Power and Sleep, and check to make sure that sleep is not set to never. If the machine to sleep, then you won't be able to connect to it. And then to follow on with that, on your local Windows 10 PC, in the search box, you want to type Remote Desktop Connection, and that application will come up. And then you type in the full name of the PC. Remember, we said remember the PC that you want to connect to, and then select Connect. And then on your Windows, Android, iOS device, you can also download that application, and it's a free. It's available in the store, Google Play, or the Mac App Store, and add your remote PC. And then just wait for the connection to complete. And so then you'll be able to access your desktop computer from anywhere over the internet. So in summary, we've determined that setting up a local area network can be initiated. In my opinion, the simple solution is one that avoids the LAN altogether and syncs over the internet. Remember that synchronization relies on an active internet connection. Look for an offline solution. In other words, download your files to the storage on your device if you want to be able to use those in an area that doesn't have internet access. But you also can find a hotspot and use that as your internet. If you have another device that has cellular connection, you can use that as your hotspot, and that gives you a lot more privacy and possibly more security. Services like Dropbox, Apple iCloud, Google Drive, and Microsoft OneDrive keep folders, and even if the PCs are on different continents. You can sync your photos using online services such as Dropbox, iCloud, or Google Photos. And you can sync your music using free or paid services such as Spotify and Pandora. So some other alternatives are share your individual files and folders with file sharing. iTunes syncs files and folders to your PC. Third-party software available in the Play Store to simply copy files. You can sync your email using webmail, Gmail, Hotmail. But using the IMAP simplifies syncing email to multiple devices. Syncing your Google Calendar with Windows Mail. And of course, you can also use the Windows Remote Desktop built in Windows 10 to connect with any device. So that concludes. Are there any questions?
I'll let people know first that they can go ahead and put questions in the chat box, and we'll get to them. I've got one. Can you go back on your slides to the one where you had the tiny URL for syncing, the instructions for syncing your Thunderbird profile?
Sure.
Bingo. Now, are you having to actually move the profile from its normal storage spot to put it into either Dropbox or your Google Drive or your OneDrive?
That's a true statement, yes.
Okay, so it has to be moved there, and then it can sync and keep everything up to date.
That's correct. Now, to deal with Dropbox, remember, you make sure that before you access the second computer, that to go ahead and get everything synced and then access the other computer. If not, you'll create a duplication.
Okay. That's good, because as we know, there's no second choice to back up. You know, you've got to back up your files. You never know when something's gonna go south on you.
That's true.
Yeah.
And always keep a backup of your PSF file for Outlook, because I hear that those get corrupted fairly easily, and so you have to recreate that. If you have a backup, then it's just a matter of just replacing it.
Okay. If there are any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box, and we can address them now. And you know, if you think of something after Bill goes off, we keep the chat box open until the next presentation, so we can get them back. Go ahead and Bill, back to your last slide. So we've got.
I need to go back.
No. Go to your final slide so people have access to your contacts.
Yeah.
Here's a question. How do you handle virus protection on shared files?
Oh, that's a good question. It would be dependent on the device that you're using. Most people do not use antiviruses on their tablets or phones, although there are products out there. So it would be dependent on the device. That the antivirus would be on the device that you're using. So if you're concerned to load the antivirus on that particular device, in my opinion, what's happening is that if you have antivirus on your PC, then it's protecting those files that you have. Even though you transfer them to another device, they should be virus-free between that transaction. So I don't really think that you necessarily would have to have antivirus on your tablet or your phone. It's just ensure that you have the antivirus on your source storage area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's always a chance if you don't have it on your phone and somebody sends you a file and then you put that file up in storage that hadn't been scanned.
But it will, but when it goes to when you upload it, the receiving ICE that has the antivirus on it will catch it.
That's good. That's good.